Welcome to the Global Reader. Today, we unpack the life and legacy of Ernesto Che Guevara, a figure whose image, a portrait of intensity, with long hair and an unwavering gaze, has become the most recognizable symbol of rebellion and transformation in the modern era. He was a physician who abandoned his conventional life to become a guerrilla leader, a proponent of radical change, and an architect of a new kind of political idealism. Che Guevara's life was an explosive arc, from an Argentine middle-class existence to the battlefields of three continents. His story forces us to confront the nature of ideology, conviction, and the lengths to which people will go to create what they perceive as a utopia. Our English learning focus today is on the vocabulary of change and ideology. You will master words such as doctrine, paradigm shift, subversion, and egalitarianism. By understanding how these words lead to Che's turbulent life, you will gain the linguistic tools to discuss politics, philosophy, and global conflict with sophistication. Chapter 1: The Formative Journey and the Paradigm Shift. Ernesto Guevara was born in 1928 in Rosario, Argentina, into a family with relatively affluent, yet bohemian backgrounds. He was plagued by chronic asthma, a physical frailty that would contrast sharply with his latter militant life. He trained as a physician, initially intending to dedicate his life to medical reform. However, the defining moment of his early adulthood was not in the lecture halls, but on the road. In 1951, he embarked on a long, perilous motorcycle journey across South America, accompanied by his friend Alberto Granado. This journey, later immortalized in his diary, served as the catalyst for his ideological awakening. He encountered poverty, disease, and oppression on a scale that shattered his privileged worldview. He saw indigenous communities exploited, workers living in squalor, and the crushing weight of economic inequality imposed by foreign influence. His medical vocation began to transform into a political conviction. He realized that treating individual patients was futile when the entire social structure was sick. This road trip prompted a fundamental paradigm shift in his thinking. He concluded that small-scale reform was insufficient. Only a violent revolution could dismantle the entrenched structures of power. He traded his medical bag for a gun, his stethoscope for a political manifesto. The philosophy of the Argentine doctor was now cemented. The poor of the world had to unite and fight against their oppressors. He had committed himself to the radical pursuit of justice. Chapter 2: The Cuban Revolution and the Insurgent Life. In 1955, Ernesto Guevara met Fidel Castro in Mexico City. Castro was assembling a small group of dissidents intent on launching a rebellion against the corrupt, US-backed dictatorship of Fulgencio Batista in Cuba. Che, with his fierce idealism and newly acquired Marxist doctrine, immediately volunteered. He joined the insurgent ranks, training as a guerrilla fighter. His asthma made the rigors of training incredibly difficult, but his unyielding fortitude and intellectual zealotry quickly earned him respect. He was not only a militant commander, but a teacher, educating the farmers and peasants who joined the rebellion on the principles of Marxism and social change. In 1956, the group sailed to Cuba on the yacht Granma. The landing was a disaster, with most of the insurgents killed or captured. Only a dozen survivors, including the Castro brothers and Che, managed to escape into the Sierra Maestra Mountains. For the next 2 years, Che was crucial to the guerrilla effort. He proved himself a brilliant tactician and a ruthless, yet disciplined, commander, eventually earning the rank of comandante. His conviction in the necessity of armed struggle was absolute. His troops revered him for his austere lifestyle and his unwavering commitment to the cause. The ultimate transformation came in January 1959. Following their victory in Santa Clara, Che led his column into Havana, signaling the collapse of the Batista regime. The revolution was victorious. A new political system was born, one based on the doctrine of socialism and the promise of egalitarianism. The manifesto of the movement had become reality. Chapter 3: The Doctrine of the New Man and Egalitarianism. Following the revolution, Che Guevara played a leading role in the Cuban government. He served first as head of the National Bank and later as Minister of Industries. He sought to implement a massive reform program aimed at rapid industrialization and the creation of a truly egalitarian society, one in which all citizens shared equally in wealth and opportunity. He was driven by a core philosophy outlined in his essay, Socialism and Man in Cuba, which posited the concept of the new man. This new persona would be driven not by material wealth or self-interest, but by moral incentive and a profound sense of collective duty. Che himself embodied this dogma, refusing a salary and working tireless, austere hours. His approach to economic reform was controversial. He advocated for a highly centralized, communal economy, minimizing market mechanisms. His idealism often clashed with the practical realities of governing a nation. He was fiercely independent and grew increasingly critical of the Soviet Union's pragmatic approach to communism, which he viewed as a betrayal of the original Marxist doctrine. He believed that the revolution could not be confined to one nation. He saw the Cuban transformation as merely the first step in a global paradigm shift. His manifesto required the subversion of capitalism everywhere. This fundamental tenet of his ideology dictated his next, more perilous steps. His conviction that he must spread the fire of change was unshakable. Chapter 4, The Global Subversion and the Militant Emissary. In 1965, Che Guevara vanished from Cuba. He resigned his posts and gave up his Cuban citizenship. He left a farewell letter to Fidel Castro, declaring that his duty as a revolutionary catalyst called him to other fields of battle. He set out to export the rebellion. His first attempt at subversion was in the Congo, now the Democratic Republic of Congo. He believed that Africa was the soft underbelly of imperialism. He led a small force of Cuban emissaries to train local insurgent forces. The Congo mission was a complete failure, plagued by dissident local leaders, disease, and a lack of internal discipline. Che learned that the Cuban model of guerrilla warfare was not easily transplanted. Despite this setback, his zealotry was undiminished. He spent time in Prague, recuperating and writing a treatise on guerrilla warfare. In 1966, he surfaced in Bolivia, choosing the mountainous country as the next crucible for change. He attempted to rally the local peasantry against the Bolivian government, but faced immense difficulties. The local Communist Party was uncooperative, and the farmers were wary. His small insurgent column was constantly hunted by the Bolivian military, aided by U.S. Special Forces and the CIA. The counterinsurgency forces had learned from their past mistakes. The final confrontation came in October 1967. Che was captured by Bolivian forces. Despite pleas for his life, he was executed the following day. His death was intended to extinguish the fire of rebellion. Instead, it consecrated his legacy and transformed him into the eternal icon of defiance. Conclusion: the paradoxical legacy Che Guevara's life was a testament to uncompromising ideology. He chased his utopian vision of an egalitarian world with an intensity few have ever matched. His transformation from a comfortable doctor to a militant leader remains a powerful, often polarizing story. For English learners, this narrative has furnished you with the essential vocabulary of change and ideology. You now possess the words to discuss the complex process of social change, from gentle reform to violent revolution, and the structures of belief, from a simple tenet to a complex dogma. By mastering terms like paradigm shift, catalyst, and subversion, you can articulate the forces that shape nations. Che Guevara's portrait, now globally disseminated on millions of shirts and posters, stands as a paradoxical legacy, the commercial icon of a man who fought against commercialism. His image is a permanent reminder that the desire for radical change will always resonate.